How you doing, guys? Opinionated Prepper here. I normally don't do this on a Saturday. The weekends I try to keep for the word of the Lord. But it's starting to get sunset, and in my belief, Sunday starts the new work day and things of the world can go into place for it. I usually don't out of respect for Christian beliefs, but I know that most Christians don't think it should really be a day separated. They think it's just a day of rest. So I don't think it'll be a big thing. But news articles, certain things came out this morning, came out yesterday, and stuff that are very important to take notice. And I'm sure by now, I haven't watched any videos. I know Pinball Preparedness, Pinball Prepper, can't remember. Pinball, I know that he did a story this morning right before I saw it. I posted something on the TPH network because it's very important. And everybody should be sounding the alarm on it. I don't know if anybody else touched on it or not. I haven't kept track with things of the world today. But the article, coming out of New Mexico, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham signed an emergency public health order. It's a public health order. It's a pandemic, folks. A health order on Friday suspending laws that allow open and concealed carry of firearms in Albuquerque for 30 days. She just took their constitutional right for freedom to bear arms. She is unconstitutional. She's breaking the law. She's committing sedition and treason. She is a tyrant, and she needs to be arrested. Period. 100%. The order, which takes effect immediately, and she doesn't have the power. She just rendered herself incapable of holding that seat and that position in office, and she just removed herself and abdicated that seat. She's no longer the governor. Anybody who looks at her as a governor doesn't know the Constitution very well. The order, which takes effect immediately, it's not a law, it's an order, which means I have no right to say it, but since I think I'm better than you, I think I'm better than the Constitution, I'm telling you what to do. No, she's not. And if I was a member of New Mexico, I would leave quick. In response to recent cases of gun-related violence in and around the city, Grisham specifically mentioned gunfire that left an 11-year-old boy unalive and other woman injured on Wednesday after they were in their vehicle in an apparent road rage incident while leaving a baseball game. Let me tell you something. Taking away the rights of the legal and taking the rights of the law-abiding will not change the actions of the criminal. And you saying that nobody can carry their firearm with them means that absolutely nobody can protect themselves from criminals that aren't going to pay a damn bit of attention to this stupid cow either. It's a bunch of crap. It's just testing the waters to see if you're going to let her do it. And if you do let her do it, you don't deserve the constitutional freedom that you have. As I said yesterday, the time for standard measure has passed. Grisham, a Democrat, big freaking surprise, said in a press release that accompanied Friday's order, it's Friday's horse shit. That's exactly what it is. Don't even pay any attention to it. I don't care. This woman, she wouldn't be my governor even if she was my governor. And when New Mexicans are afraid to be in crowds, to take their kids to school, to leave a baseball game, when their very right to exist is threatened by the prospect of violence at every turn, something's very wrong. You know what's something that's very wrong? When you let criminals go and you let people act in a criminal way. When they're not punished, the only ones that can stand up for themselves at that point in time are the people that you're taking the rights away from because you have failed them. You don't have the right to be in political office, period. Not only are you going to lose, you're not even going to get a nomination because even the people that you work for, your bosses that paid for your seat, aren't going to have you around. You need to go away. You are an enemy of the state. You are a terrorist. You are a dictator that are taking away the God-given rights of the citizens of everybody of this country. Period. I don't know if I'm going to get banned. I don't know if I'm going to get a strikeout. I don't care about monetization. I really don't give a shit. This is something that needs to be addressed, and not just for people in New Mexico. All of the American citizens, all of the people that stand up and fight for the right of freedoms of everybody in every 50 states needs to talk to this woman. They need to talk to the congressman. They need to join with these people and fight and get this horse face out of office. Period. 100%. Boy, I digress. It's a whole bunch of junk. But either which way, I want to bring something up, and I know most of you that listen to me, you have a biblical belief. Some of you that listen to me, you don't have a biblical belief. But I want to remind you that all things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. It's the beginning of sorrows, folks. It is not sorrows are here. But there's been a sudden uptick of earthquakes along the New Madrid Fault in Missouri, with at least 9 new quakes being recorded in just the past few days. This was from August 25th, so it's a few weeks old. And you wouldn't really need to know because it's 1.7, 2.4, 2.1, 2.6, 2.1, 1.9, 1.6, 1.7, 1.7. So they're not really going to register very much, but the last time in 1812 that you really don't hear about, all you hear is the War of 1812, then all you hear about is Manifest Destiny. You don't hear about what happened in the middle to cause Manifest Destiny. There were thousands of earthquakes along the New Madrid, so strong that it made the Mississippi River flow backwards, that Madison, James and Dolly Madison, felt the earthquakes in Washington, D.C., hundreds of miles away. Bells in the churches of Boston rang out. It changed the landscape. And before then, I believe that the Native Americans, the Indians, First Nations, whatever you want to call them, were so plentiful around that area that you just were not going to do it. But all of the thousands of earthquakes that happened along the New Madrid during the last Dalton minimum, the last grand solar minimum, wiped out most of the Indians. It changed the topography of the country because they were so strong, they were so vast, there were so many of them. And it's not only in the United States that it was happening in 1812. Napoleon was having his huge rides and dominating. Napoleon's comet came through just like a comet came through a few days ago and came close to the sun. I guess it's named after a Japanese guy, Nishimura or something like that. You can look it up. Just happened. Just like there was a comet during the Wolf minimum, comet during the Maunder minimum, when there was the Black Plague, bubonic plague, whatever you want to call it. There was a year without a sun during the Dalton minimum, year without a summer, in the Maunder minimum, and I see we're going to get that again. All over the world, dictatorships and reigns of families were coming to an end, and there was upheaval and revolution along with all of these natural disasters, along with them kicking Jesuits out in just about every country. Jesuits are kind of a black order of the Catholics, and they were always in the ruling power's ear to get them to do what they wanted to do. And if you look back on Jesuits and what our founding fathers thought about them, it wasn't very positive, and they were getting kicked out. It was an upheaval, and it was a time of change, and that's just what we're moving into now. We have to pay attention to it. Magnitude 5.0 earthquake rocks Northern California. That was 21 hours ago. Earthquake in New Zealand, magnitude 6.6, strikes the Kermadec Islands in New Zealand. That was a 6.6. Morocco earthquake kills more than 2,000 and damages historic Marrakesh. That was just a few hours ago. That was published 40 minutes ago, but that was last night. I got breaking alerts at like 10 o'clock last night that was going on. So we're seeing earthquakes in various diverse places. And then you have Hurricane Lee expected to move north of Puerto Rico, but still dangerous. That was moved up to a Category 5 storm. And it's big, and it's going to cause a lot of devastation. So there's your earthquakes, there's your storms and stuff like that. How about pestilences? Update, COVID shots are coming. I would have some kind of catchy, quippy thing about COVID, but I'll probably get a strike from this from my heated opinion, my very strong opinion of what that piece of trash, ex-governor, is doing in New Mexico. Update, COVID shots are coming. They're part of a trio of vaccines to block fall viruses. So when you're hearing about rules and regulations and possible coming lockdowns and mask mandates going back into effect and the social distancing coming all back through, and Pedo Pete saying, no, we've got another shot coming and I'm urging Congress to give me more money, because he's a piece of trash that's taking money over to Ukraine and he's using money for stupid stuff that doesn't work instead of helping out the American people like it's not our money and he's not our president. You know, his doctor, wife, Jill Biden, got COVID. Boy, I hope she makes a full recovery. I do. I hope she makes a full recovery. Clash of air masses to trigger eruption of violent weather. That's coming in too, and I don't know exactly what date this was. It was posted today, but I'm not sure where it's talking about, and I really don't feel like looking. But there's your pestilence. There's your natural disasters. We already have the Ukraine war. We already have divisiveness between conservative and liberal and north and south and vaxxer and anti-vaxxer and minority and majority and all of that trash. That is tribe and kingdom and nation, all of those different things. So we have wars and we have rumors of wars, and it looks like Pedo Pete is trying to egg that on a little bit by saying we're not going to send some dangerous stuff, but we send some dangerous stuff like depleted uranium and cluster bombs that he said he'd never send, but he sent, along with M1 Abrams and F-16s that he said he'd never send, but he sent. Guy is a piece of trash, I swear. Summary findings. Food price outlook 2023-2024. All items consumer price index, a measure of economy-wide inflation, rose by 0.2%. Horseshit. From June 23 to July 23 and was up 3.2%, I believe that, from 22. The CPI for all food increased 0.3%, horseshit, from June 23 to July 23, and food prices were 4.9% higher than in 22. That I kind of believe. The level of food price inflation varies depending on whether the food was purchased for consumption at home or away from home. The food at home increased 0.4%, horseshit, from June 23 to July 23, and was 3.6% higher than 22. Food away from home increased 0.2%, horse shit, in July 23 and was 7.1% higher than in 22. Food prices are expected to grow more slowly in 2023, than in 2022, but still at above historical average rates. Still above. In 23, all food prices are predicted to increase 5.9%, with a prediction interval of 5.3 to 6.5. I will tell you something. Just a few days ago, I bought some bacon. Now, bacon was $3.96, and then about a year and a half ago, it went up to $5.94, and then overnight, it jumped to $7.94. About $2. Exactly $2, but almost a 50% raise in what it was. If you divide the $6, $5.94, you get $3. It rose $2. So it rose almost 50%. Now, how is 50%? 5.9%. I think maybe if you stop listening to these idiots that love to move decimal points, and you just move that little tiny decimal point over to the right, one digit, you might have it correct. I believe food prices predicted and will increase by 59%, not 5.9. I think they're off by tenfold. 2024, all prices are predicted to increase 2.8%, and we know what that math is. So if they're saying 2.8%, you can look at a 30% markup, which is predicted for canned food and corn and everything like that. They said it's going to rise another 58 cents, so about another 30%. And that's across the board. So let's do that from now on. Whenever these penises, these little douche nozzles, want to lie and fudge junk, just drop that decimal point out of there, and then you'll get closer to the true number. I doubt it's going to be 2.8. You're looking more at 28. So how about we do that, ladies and gentlemen? I'm sorry, I'm worked up. I told you it's things that we need to focus on. If you don't realize that all of this now is connected and it's all a sham and it's all meant to just knock us down and to take what is rightfully ours, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you should go back to sleep, put on those Oculus VR goggles, and spend some time in Facebook or Meta or whatever the hell it's called. It's time we wake up. It's time to put a stop to this nonsense. It's complete and utter horse shit. I'm sorry for the language. I'm not really meant for kids. 99.9% of the time, kids can listen to me and they won't have to worry about anything. Not even any real innuendos once in a while. But the time to be nice is over. It's the time to stand up and the time to defend yourself. You don't do anything stupid, because when you do stupid, then stupid people in office try and punish everybody for it so they can grab a little bit more power. So by all means, do not do anything stupid. But you stand up and you keep what's yours. You keep what's right. You unplug from this stupid, sick society. You start doing for yourself. Start doing for your own family. Start doing for others. You stay in your community, little local community. When you do it yourself, you get a better community. And then your community turns into a village, then a town, then a city, then a state, then a country. And we can evict these nasty pieces of trash that are trying to take everything right and just from us just because they can. I need to go take some blood pressure medicine, maybe do some meditation and work on my ohms. So God willing, we'll see you tomorrow.